Hello Toastmasters, honored guests, Mr. Chair, backwards. If you could please just clap me off tonight, that would be great. Sorry. We have a little. My topic is breaking bad habits. Brian Tracy, a motivational teacher, once said, bad habits are easy to develop, yet hard to live with. Good habits are hard to develop, but easy to live with. I think these are very wise words to consider and very poignant to me. I recognize this when I was last minute putting my speech together today, which is a bad habit, and I've decided in my research that I'm going to try and change it, and I'm going to use some of the techniques that I'm discussing today to change that terrible habit of cramming for my speech at the last minute. How many people here made a New Year's resolution? Did everyone keep them? One? Is there any that you didn't keep? Would anybody here like to learn some techniques how to keep those resolutions or keep those habits? Absolutely. I found it fascinating going through this. About 18 years ago, when I moved to Vancouver, I noticed an amazingly beautiful province and beautiful people, and they were all exercising, and I realized that I had a very sedentary lifestyle. In fact, I used to even smoke at the time. Boo. And I decided that I was going to try and get into better shape, and I started off by going for walks, and maybe 15 minutes a day, and that turned into a half an hour, and then I started walking in rougher terrain through up and down the hills of North Vancouver and through the parks, and I was going out for an hour a day. And then I noticed I was actually starting to run between light poles, and eventually I was running for the entire hour. After about a year, I was running for about an hour a day, and then I found myself in the store at Ambleside, and I was looking at some running shoes, and the sales clerk came up to me and she said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for some running shoes. I go do some walking and running." And she says, "Oh, you're a runner." And I went, "I'm a runner." I run. I'm a runner. And this is a running store, and I need some running gear. And I was all excited because I said I was just a guy looking at all these runners before, and go, "Oh, those guys are runners. Look at them run. They've got, never ever thinking that I would be one." And all of a sudden that day, I became a runner. And all of a sudden I said, "I don't need to smoke anymore. I'm a runner. Runners don't smoke." So I was very motivated, and it was very interesting when I went through this process of how to break habits that perhaps I did some of those things subconsciously that actually enable you to create a good habit and lose bad ones. Bad habits shorten lives. Good habits extend life. Think about it. Smoking, eating poorly, to one, health-related habits. But this all takes place in the brain, I learned. Everything we do goes in short-term memory. Well, the rest of your brain is trying to figure out if it's important enough to remember. So think about it. Like you're eating a bowl of cornflakes. You're thinking about every grain of cornflakes and its texture and everything else, and your brain doesn't keep that. It only keeps the important things. If you repeat doing things, when you learn to drive, it was a new habit. You were driving down the street and you were changing the gear. It was awkward. Now, 20 years later, 30 years later, you don't even think about it. It's become an ingrained habit. It's in your hippocampus. Hippocampus. That's where it is. And if I had said that 15 more times, it would have been in my hippocampus. No problem. So, in order to make better habits, you have to decide to make a change. Sometimes it's easy to make that change because your doctor tells you have a heart issue, or you've got you should exercise more, or you've got weight issues, you should eat better. That can create a want pretty quickly. You have to create a commitment to make that change. You have to be aware of all the issues that are working against you so you can promote a good habit. For example, take only one habit on at a time. Don't try and complicate it with many habits to try and correct them. Replace bad habits with good ones. If you were a nail biter, for example, replace that with maybe filing your nails or good nail hygiene. Every time you want to bite your nails, bring out your nail kit and fix your nails. Myself, I'm a talker. I interrupt people. If I could replace that with listening, beautiful. Win-win. Exercise, again, if you exercise, get an exercise program, you'll find you'll be able to accomplish anything because that puts you in such a positive frame of mind. You'll be able to tackle other bad habits because you've got the formula. If you can do that, you can do anything. And if you go into it with a positive frame of mind, you can change those bad habits. Reward yourself. Buy yourself a new bike. Buy some electronics. Go on a trip. Do not reward yourself with a cigarette or bad food. Schedule. If you have a really schedule yourself daily to do repetitive exercises so it can get into that hippocampus region in your brain and become second nature to you. Repeat. Repeat and practice. Now, and start now. When you leave here, I want you to start now. Those people that made New Year's resolutions, find them, pull them out, dust them off, and start and practice and repeat them every day. I can give you all this knowledge, but you are the only ones that can give yourself the discipline. And that will be my next speech, fellow Toastmasters.